He's the co-founder of Modern Seinfeld on Twitter. They've got 644,000 followers, and you can follow him right now at Seinfeld Today. Please welcome Josh Gondelman. Josh, how are you doing?
Doing great, thank you. Thanks so much for having me on.
Definitely, we're excited about it. And I want to ask you first of all, how did this whole thing go? And did it? I really want to know. Did you? And I know you have another writing partner, a comedy partner. Did this whole thing just get started at a coffee shop over an argument about nothing? Like, how did it? How did it happen?
No. It was actually Jack is a friend of mine, my co-author, and we started writing it separately. It started just as a thing I was tweeting on like a bored Sunday, based on a conversation I had with a buddy named Dan Bulger, who's a really funny comedian in Boston. Mm-hmm. And he said, man, if there were text messaging, half of the Seinfeld episodes just wouldn't even exist anymore. And I thought that he was kind of right, but also if they had text messaging, there would be so many more different kinds of episodes that it would be open to. Oh, I mean, like, you would have to do one about dirty pictures being sent back and forth, right? I mean, that's got to be one right there. We've got plenty. We've got some about dirty pictures. Some of it just like the difference between a period and an exclamation point in a text.
All caps.
Yeah, all caps. There's an all caps one. We have a one about one of my favorite ones is George tries to get fired by, quote, accidentally replying all to an email instead of just replying.
Oh, there you go.
Thank you. But he gets promoted because they like his gutsy attitude.
Now, do you guys, have you been contacted by any of the actors from Seinfeld, regarding this Twitter account? I mean, you guys, it's grown to be such a big thing now. Like, has anybody contacted you? Has Jerry himself talked to you, or Jason Alexander?
It's been pretty wild. Jason Alexander tweeted about it, which is pretty exciting. And nobody else none of the other principals on the show have reached out. Like some writers have talked about how they liked it. Larry David and Jerry Seinfeld keep kind of getting ambushed with it, like in interviews. People will be like, "What do you think about this?" And like, I don't know, it's not for me.
Trying to be gentleman about it.
It isn't for them. You know what I mean? Like, of course, it's not going to be Larry David's favorite thing. I think if it was, I would have to be like Soup. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. He's not the target audience for like a kind of fan appreciation Twitter feed about a thing that he made a long time ago.
Yeah, yeah. And just to catch the listeners up, you're listening to Sarcastic News Live. We've got Josh Gondelman, who is the co-founder of Modern Seinfeld on Twitter, and you can follow him right now at Seinfeld Today. Josh, do you guys have plans to turn this into like a TV series, maybe a book, or I don't know, like a real estate guide? Like, what's the next step for this?
We're both pretty happy with how it is now. We've kicked around some ideas for a book, but we haven't come up with one that's been really satisfying in terms of like a thing that we think people would want to buy and that we want to write. We could just collect the tweets and sell them in a book, but that seems like kind of a cheesy way to make money off of not doing any work, which is weird that I'm against it, because that's kind of all I want to do.
Seriously.
How is this like change your, first of all, actually, I want to know, how did you get such a following? I mean, was it just, how did people...
Was it gradual, or was it like a big jump at once?
Or did you click one of those direct message buttons that says add more, you want to get more followers?
Yeah, we paid $500 for these. It kind of it blew up really quickly. Part of it is because I think it's like a fun idea that ended up resonating with people more than either of us really anticipated. Mm-hmm. And then the other part is like Jack is really well connected. I am as well, I think. But Jack was working for BuzzFeed at the time, so like anything he was doing was kind of like in the epicenter of like internet media, whatever was happening there. So it was like the right eyes were on it. It was the right thing. It was it's like everything, a right place, right time thing.
Awesome. Well,
yeah.
And how has this changed? I mean, how has it changed your life and your comedy career? And do you do stand-up, or do you have what other types of comedy do you do?
I do. I do a lot of stand-up. I'm on the road a whole bunch, and I do stand-up around New York where I live. And I'm going to be in Buffalo this weekend at Helium Comedy Club, opening for Judah Friedlander from 30 Rock, which will be really fun.
Oh, nice.
And yeah, I think it'll be a blast. And then I do writing and stuff. But I think the real thing is that Jack and I both are now kind of like that guy from That Thing Now, which I think is the name of a Greg Barrett comedy special.
Yeah.
But we both have like it's a nice thing that some people know that you can say you did, which I think is in a way like kind of it's different than having like a late night set, right? Like Conan or Letterman, so it's like it doesn't have that like classic prestige of doing stand-up on a show like that, but it does have like there's kind of like an excitement I think that some people have, which is really neat. That people are like, I know that thing that you made, which is very exciting.
Have you gotten anybody who's? I mean, I know it's behind Twitter, but do people see you on the street, or do they? You know, I'm sure they can find you somehow. Do you get recognized when you're walking down the street?
I've never been visually recognized, but I've had people like come up to me after shows where it was mentioned. Like sometimes the host will mention it when they bring me on stage, and people have been like, "I love that," which is so sweet and flattering. But like never, I don't think anyone has ever recognized me randomly on the street from Twitter.
Well, Josh, I'm going to be in New York in mid-March, and I'm going to do a lot of stalking of you so that I can find you. Yeah, I'm going to be in New York in mid-March. I'm going to be doing some stand-up myself, and I'm going to find you, whether it's a comedy club, your apartment, whatever. No,
my apartment. Yeah, it's perfect.
And,
my career, I think a stalker would mostly be flattering. I'd be like, "Aw." Like, are you just too busy to stalk someone more famous than me? You just need a guy that's slow moving and.
Well, no. The answer is no, Josh. I'm not, and I'll see you March 15th.
Perfect.
Thank you so much for joining us, Josh Gondelman. Thank you very much for being with us here on Sarcastic News Live.
Of course. Thanks for having me. Have a great night.